Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. In today's video we're going to continue the conversation from the last one where we talk about how to ask for salary increase. Where in the previous one we talked about how to prepare to have that conversation. In this week's video we will cover what exactly to say and the techniques how to handle that meeting so you can lead it successfully. So please continue watching. The meeting. So the meeting is like having a job interview. You need to sell yourself to your manager. You have to show your manager that you earned your right to earn more. So you have to show them how you've taken initiative, gone the extra mile, performed over beyond. And even though your manager may be well aware of how well you're doing, they may not necessarily be able or be aware of every single thing. So that is your time to show and showcase everything that you want to that builds your case.
During the meeting, there are two key aspects of your communication which you are passing on that are equally important. First of all is your language, so your verbal communication, which Zuzka is going to talk about. And the second one, equally important, is the non-verbal communication. Pay attention to your body language. You want to keep an open and straight posture.
Not like we are right now, so we just have to straighten up a bit for this video for you guys.
So keep your arms open. Don't cross your arms, which can be seen, or don't sit like this. This can be seen as a sign of aggressiveness and defensiveness. You can also use little tricks like keeping your palms or your arms on the table like that, or like with the open palms, because this is a sign of honesty and good intentions. And to make sure that you give the impression of being confident, but reasonable. So you don't want to be seen as too confident or too overwhelming for the other person.
The language. Do not overstate your case. Be clear on your terms and don't repeat yourself too much. Make sure that you are using the right words that are positive, they are not emotionally charged, and they are company friendly. Now, what is it that you want to be doing is that you don't want to come across over assertive or aggressive or saying things like, I want, I need, I'm underpaid. This is not the right approach. This is about really understanding that it's about achievement and results, right? So you want to say things like, I have achieved. Another thing not to use is that I have been doing a great job, or I have been working extra hours. Again, this is about, sometimes people say that and they're actually not good in their job because they're not good with their time management. So again, we are looking here at the results. So you say, well, here's my list of achievement, or this is what I have done in the past that had made company X, Y, and Z amount of figure.
Or you can also say, my results demonstrate that I have achieved success in X, Y, Z.
Yeah, so one way how to start this conversation is that I have been thinking about my performance and how this may be reflected in my pay.
Practice your speech out loud. You'll be surprised how much better you can get at your conversations. Once you actually say it out loud, you listen to it and you tweak or amend some things that might not sound as good when you actually take it from paper to the actual spoken language. And this is something that Zuzka helps me with a lot. So whenever I have a difficult conversation to be had, she helps me out, so we sort of talk through it, and then I realize that some of the things I say might be interpreted the way I don't want to, or they might actually hurt someone, or basically not do me any favor.
Any favors at all.
So it is also good that during your conversation with a manager, you talk about your future. So where do you see the future within the organization? And this shows the manager that you are thinking about your case long term, which also makes it more likely for them to make a good decision for you. And once you actually finish the chat, make sure you give the voice to the manager and you listen to them carefully and you don't interrupt. So you don't go into like the, like ping pong of a chat, but listen to them carefully, and then you can address any points that they might raise after they finish. And remember that this is business, this is not personal, so stay open and stay positive.
100%. It's so important because many people take it so personally, but this is just business. We are talking results and money. And this is what you have to think when you're having that conversation. Nothing emotional can come into that. So what happens if they say no? Well, there are different types of no's. First of all, what they can say is that the company is not in a financial position to be able to offer you that money that you are asking for. In which case, just ask your manager, so when is there is a good time for them? Is it a month, 2, 6 months? And based on that, you can also make your own decision whether you want to stay within the company or not. Now, another type of a no is when your manager is actually not thinking that you deserve that money, which is a bit of a hard one, in which case you really want to listen to your manager, to their feedback, and if it is something that you still want, you may want to really address that feedback.
So I used to work with this really cunning manager because he used to use this technique to everyone when he was trying to avoid giving people pay rises, because obviously he was responsible for the P&L of the entire account. So what he would say is that in certain aspects of the role you exceed my expectations and you are even more senior than required, but on other aspects of the job you are not delivering on the expectations. So through saying that, there is always something that you can pick up on with somebody's performance that will justify you not giving a raise. So the key point here is, like Zuzka mentioned, is to check their feedback on those things when they believe you are not delivering to expectations, and show them that you work on them, show the results towards them, and then bring up your case again.
And one final thing is, do not blackmail your manager that you going, or threaten them that you are going to leave if you don't get this salary increase. Meaning it just shows that you are immature, and this is just not professional at all, and you are not a team player. What I want to mention here is that if you perhaps haven't worked in a managerial position, you may not be aware how much time it actually takes for a manager to process a salary increase and how many different people are involved in that process. And it is, trust me, maybe even more frustrating for the manager than it is for a person that's asking for it. And what tends to happen is that sometimes we hear back and we don't get the money we really want for that person. And it's so frustrating for me that I cannot give money to the person that I genuinely believe that they deserve that money. And then if that kind of person is threatening me that they are going to leave if this is not what they are going to get, then it's just it really puts me off, and it's kind of disrespectful, and then it just makes me not wanna work with that person anymore.
So in that situations, I would just let them go, and I actually need to go through it once, because if somebody is threatening me, I think this is like non-negotiable.
It's just so
never good.
It's never good, and just so disrespectful, and this is something that you never want to do.
The next point is, if your manager says no, have a backup plan ready. So even if you don't get the financial increase, there are still other things that you might desire that you can ask for. So whether it's to work remotely 2 days a week, some extra paid holiday time, or maybe some additional training because you want to increase your skills in a certain area. So these are all the things that you can definitely ask for, and it's very often it's easier for your manager to process internally than the actual financial increase, which considers like the whole annual salary package. So even though you might not get the financial increase you want, it doesn't mean you have to leave empty-handed.
And the last final bit is about following up on your conversation. So once you had your meeting with your manager, you want to document it. So you want to document it for 2 reasons. Reason number 1 is your manager may leave, and your new manager may not have a track of that and completely disregard it, which doesn't serve in your favor. Second of all, or the second reason is your HR department is dealing with those requests, so you also want to have that in case you need to follow up with HR on that and prove them that this is a conversation that you've had. So how can you go about that, right? You finish your meeting, and what you can do is type a quick email to your manager and say, "Hi, Mr. Manager, thanks a lot for your time, and we've discussed," and then you state exactly what you have discussed, and then you can also say, "And you suggested that I should come back to you in 3-6 months time, in a week, about all the particular things," and there is your record that you want to keep, and that's something very easy for you to come back to and to follow up with your manager. It's recorded, it's documented, it's there, and you can go back to it at any point you need to pick up the conversation. I hope you found this week's video helpful and it helped you to achieve your financial aspirations and the goals that you might have within your organization. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel. And we would also love to hear from you any of your experiences that you might have during these conversations, what worked, what haven't. Please pop it down in the comment box below. And be kind, stay positive, and we'll see you next time. Bye!
Bye.